Today, Bitcoin jumps to the $63,000 level to kick off the week. BlackRock's Larry Fink tells CNBC he's now a, quote, major believer that there's a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. And former FBI Special Agent Jason Hogg discusses the spike in crypto ATM schemes. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the green to start the week, with Bitcoin trading back above $60,000. As of noon Eastern, the cryptocurrency shot up nearly 5% to the $63,000 level as markets see increased odds of an election victory for the presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump, who's been vocal about his rising support for crypto. Ether climbed more than 5.5% to $3,369, and Solana advanced about 5% to $153. Crypto-focused stocks also saw a bump this morning, with Coinbase jumping nearly 11% and MicroStrategy soaring nearly 15% as of midday. Bitcoin miners saw big gains too, with Riot rising nearly 9% and CleanSpark and Marathon Digital both surging more than 11%. Now, last week, Bitcoin was trading below the $60,000 level, but the cryptocurrency's value has risen since the failed assassination attempt of Trump on Saturday. Investors see an increased chance of a Trump victory in the upcoming presidential election, impacting a range of markets, including crypto. The former president has recently positioned himself as the crypto-friendly candidate, with his campaign announcing in May that it was accepting crypto donations. Also, Trump is scheduled to speak at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville next week. All right, let's talk about the top stories. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says Bitcoin has the potential to be a way for everyday investors to guard against significant government turmoil. The head of the world's largest asset manager told CNBC's Squawk on the Street this morning that he sees a future for Bitcoin after previously being a proud skeptic of the cryptocurrency.
I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. Right. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at.
Now, BlackRock has become a significant player in crypto. In fact, the firm's iShares Bitcoin Trust has raked in more than $18 billion since its launch in January, making it the largest Bitcoin ETF. The firm has also filed to potentially launch an Ether ETF, and we're expected to learn if those products will get the green light to start trading in the US any day now. Next, Tornado Cash co-founder Alexei Pertsev, who was found guilty of money laundering a couple of months ago, was denied bail by a Dutch court. That's according to international news outlet DL News, which reported on Friday that a court of appeals in the Netherlands ruled that the developer behind the crypto mixer will continue to be detained and will not be allowed to access a computer, internet, or data. According to DL News, Pertsev's lawyer says he needs to be out on bail so that he could prepare to appeal his guilty verdict, but that the court argued that his continued detention should not obstruct his ability to prepare his defense. Pertsev was reportedly sentenced to more than 5 years behind bars for laundering hundreds of millions of dollars in stolen and hacked crypto through the Tornado Cash crypto mixer. Last, a major Cambodian payments firm reportedly received crypto worth more than $150,000 from a wallet used by North Korean hacking group Lazarus. That's according to Reuters, which cited blockchain data reviewed by the news outlet. Huiyuan Pay, which offers currency exchange, repayments, and remittance services, reportedly received the crypto between June 2023 and February of this year. The funds came from an anonymous digital wallet that was used by Lazarus to deposit funds stolen from 3 crypto companies in June and July of 2023, mostly via phishing attacks. Reuters reports the company had not known it received funds indirectly from the hacks and cited the multiple transactions between its wallet and the source of the hack as the reason it was unaware. In August of last year, the FBI warned crypto companies of blockchain activity connected to the theft of hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto, and that the agency identified that the crypto was stolen by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea's affiliated actors known as Lazarus Group and APT38. All right, turning to the rise in crypto ATM scams for our main story. I spoke with cybersecurity expert Jason Hogg, who is an executive in residence at the private equity firm Great Hills Partner and a former FBI special agent, about the growing trend. He breaks down why criminals are targeting crypto ATMs and the challenges associated with recovering the stolen funds. All right, thank you so much for being here. Crypto ATMs have been a topic for us on Crypto World in the past. Last year, we explored the growth of them around the globe, and at the time, the number of installations had actually slowed. But heading into 2024, Coin ATM Radar shows that installations are climbing once again. And I'm wondering if you could talk about the growth of this industry, and particularly the trend of criminals using them to scam people or launder money.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me on. The thing that we're seeing is there's three prevailing trends. The first is that QR code manipulation is becoming a thing. This is where the fraudsters are taking the QR code on the screen, replacing or overlaying the legitimate QR code with their own, and then they're redirecting the crypto transfers to their own addresses. Like you said, as the ATM machines are becoming more prolific, so are fake crypto ATMs, and the fake crypto ATMs are designed solely for the purpose of capturing people's private keys. And then the other thing is we're seeing with the rise of crypto ATMs, yet another example of social engineering where fraudsters are impersonating authorities to get people's private keys.
You mentioned there how they're manipulating the stuff that's happening on the screens or around these ATMs with QR codes. And it makes me think about one of the things we covered at the time when we were looking at ATMs was a lot of them were implementing warnings or some sort of sign to tell people about scams or illicit transactions. How effective do you think ATM operators themselves have been at stopping criminal activity? And how does that compare to something like, say, a MoneyGram or a Western Union and how they combat scams? Because a lot of times you go into these stores and they have pretty apparent warnings, and the people working there are pretty clear about avoiding scams.
Right. For me, I sum it up in two words: independent confirmation. I think it's really important for the consumer to take it upon themselves. Warnings and things that look real and or official sort of only get it part way. I think first you need to check and validate from the crypto community or official company websites, the ATM themselves, or the location of the ATM. Second, I think it's very important to double check the QR code details on the ATM screen and that the address matches before you actually complete a transaction. And then lastly, you should approach this generally being skeptical of anything that's an unsolicited request or a link for private information. And we as consumers need to make sure that we're independently corroborating things and reaching out on our own to official channels or websites to make sure that these are actually legitimate locations.
That goes to a question I had for you about, whether this is a regulation problem or if this is an education problem. And it sounds like, you're mentioning ways that people can be more aware. Where do you feel like we are in terms of educating the public on how these ATMs work, but also how these scams proliferate?
I think we're in the second inning of the game. It's very early right now. And I think what ends up happening is that oftentimes the technology ends up actually accelerating faster than the regulations and law enforcement can keep up. And so fraudsters are operating in an unrestricted manner. So they're doing everything that they can without any rules in order to perpetrate a fraud. And so it takes a little bit of time for law enforcement and the regulations to catch up to put systems and also different techniques in place to combat the fraudsters.
Keeping with that idea of law enforcement, how prepared are they for this kind of crime? I'm thinking about this because there was a body cam video that went viral just the other day of a police officer stopping a woman from sending, tens of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin to a scammer on the phone pretending to be her bank. As these crimes become more common, do you feel like law enforcement on the local or national level are prepared for this?
I think that they're constantly in a process of learning and then educating the public. The good news is that this is just the next evolution. Financial fraud, crime, ATM fraud has been around since the 1980s when they were originally put into place at mass scale. And so the good news is we're not starting from scratch here, but rather getting caught up on what the latest techniques are and what fraudsters are doing. So it's a constant iterative process, and it's a constant battle.
Final question about industry cooperation. On the show, we've talked with blockchain analytics firms, Chainalysis comes to mind, about how they track down criminal activity on the blockchain. Do you think that there's enough cooperation between the industry through these analytics firms and crypto exchanges and law enforcement to help recover funds?
I think that it's getting much, much better. If you look back only 10 years, 5 years even, it was the Wild West, and there wasn't much collaboration going on. People weren't cross-pollinating ideas. Now information sharing is getting much better, and people see fraud being perpetrated in a particular vertical or industry, and they're communicating it and then coming up with remediation steps. So it's going to continue to evolve, but we are leap years ahead of where we were only 5 years ago.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today. We're back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.